This will be a two-part series where we head out to some of Australia's most harshest environments, the black soil and the red centre. Out there we're looking for a bunch of different reptiles and I hope you enjoy. Cutest frog you've ever looked at. How good. Well, main target for tonight is the Murray-Darling carpet, but there's also a chance of paleheads and spotted blacks. We're about 5.5 hours off the coast of New South Wales, or East Coast, and yeah, continuing on. Decent spiny tail gecko, first gecko of the trip, one of my favourite geckos, and definitely one of my favourite families of gecko. Awesome little critters. They actually can excrete like a slime out of their tail, and they'll lift that tail up in the air and shoot it forwards. It can go like a good 10 to 15 centimeters in front of them, which is pretty wild. But yeah, I suppose we're out here for snakes, so we're going to keep looking. Cool little fella. I'm absolutely doing. That's my first Murray-Darling carpet python, and it's been absolutely mangled by a car. It's a shame. Such a good snake. I've never seen one of these before, so it's a pretty shit thing to see one dead and freshly hit too. Like, this would have just been hit by a car. I can still see it's moving, so we're gonna put it out so it doesn't suffer. Another one bites the dust. I just pulled it off the road. This is actually a grey snake, which are particularly common in this area, but they are also considered, I'm pretty sure they're vulnerable. I know they were endangered at one point. I'm not sure where they sit now, but still a shame. Like, we haven't seen it, well, we've seen a live snake get hit, which was the Murray-Darling, and now another one freshly hit. It's been a slow night, but we can't get too sad because it's only the first night of 16 out in Central Australia. So we'll leave this fella here for the crows tomorrow and keep going. All right, first a live snake, only a little fella, and one we've seen many times, but tiny little bandy. Never a chore seeing these fellas. They are one of my absolute favourites, and they only feed on blind snakes, which is what he's out here looking for. I'll let this little fella keep going, see what else we can find, but very good to see an alive snake finally. One of the targets out here tonight is this fella in front of me, which is the Devis banded snake, also known as the mud adder. This is actually an adult. They don't get too big, well, they do get bigger than this, and they get very fat as well, which is kind of why they get the name the mud adder. Yeah, they're predominantly living in the soil cracks around this area. They are common here, but this is definitely on our list to see. I've seen these guys before, and they never get old. Yeah, surprisingly for their size, a bite from this species is actually really bad, and I have heard of, or I know people who have been bitten as well, and yeah, haven't heard good things about it. So we're going to be careful with this fella, but finally starting to see some alive snakes, and Harry just shit his pants. So well, first snake of the day is dead. Very nice looking brown snake. And actually, it's an eastern brown. Very nice speckling just behind the head there. Very small head for a brown snake. Alrighty, well, it was only about time. We finally got the first bearded dragon on the trip, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last. This is actually one hell of a unit. They don't get much bigger than this, and this one here is an eastern bearded dragon, but we will be only seeing centrals pretty soon. So I'd say we're probably the last eastern bearded we'll see until we come back this way, but a really nice lizard basking out on the road, and we're going to go look for some king browns. Alright, so we've officially arrived at, not the first location, but the first main one anyway. Last night you would have seen we did see a few bits and pieces. We basically just tried to make this drive a bit shorter by stopping in a spot on the way. So we basically punched from work yesterday straight to Narrabri, and then yeah, stayed there, woke up this morning, came straight here, which is the Brigalow belt in southern central Queensland. So tonight we've got a few targets in mind. A few that I haven't seen before would be the strap-standard brown snake. That's one of my main targets. I have seen king browns and woman pythons, but I actually haven't seen them here. So they're pretty high up on the list. I believe palehead's one of them. But we're just going to go out and see what we can do. I'm not really sure, but we're at a really good spot. It's one of my favourite spots I've ever herped. so hopefully it produces for us. But we're actually going to go for an arvo cruise right now, and yeah, see if we can turn up a snake. All right, so right above me, yellow spotted monitor, one of my all-time favourites. We've actually seen two already this afternoon. This is the first one I've actually been able to get a video of because it's gone up a tree, which has worked in our favour. But awesome lizard. Alrighty, one of the targets in question, the yellow spotted monitor. We did see one up a tree before, and we've just been lucky enough to get hands on one this afternoon. Again, puffed, but one of my favourite lizards. I mean, look at the spots on him, that highlighted yellow tail, beast. There's not much bigger out here. These things get huge, arguably bigger than lace monitors, from what I've seen anyway. And when they do get to that size, they're overconfident. So they'll stand up on their back legs, make themselves look as big as possible, and I think that's what brings most of the attraction to them anyway. But have a go at this thing. That's awesome. All right, well, thanks, mate. I'll see you later. Snake of the night, and this is one hell of a rough looking coral snake, and this is the Australian version. It's not anywhere near as venomous as the ones found overseas. However, this is one of my favourite snakes to find. They're very variable and they have a huge distribution for such a small snake, but they're in the shovel-nosed snake family. I'm sure you can see why you get that name. Living out in the soil and the sand. Most of arid Australia is where this family's found, and this is the most eastern one that we can find. Awesome little snake. But we're going to keep going. The road's warm, snakes are on the move. Let this little fella keep kicking. Second snake, another coral snake. This one is far better looking than the first one. Much more typical for the coral snake. Those nice bands and that head. They do get heaps more vibrant in other locations. This area is pretty drab compared to the rest of them, but still pretty cool to see them. I mean, they're an awesome snake. We also spoke about this fella before, so I'm not going to spend too much time with him. Let him keep going. But look at that little head on him. Cutie. Right, a very slow night tonight. The weather dropped off extremely quick, which obviously didn't help for activity. So we only ended up seeing those two coral snakes, which obviously not mad about, but obviously not what we were hoping to see, which is alright because there's plenty in front of us. At the moment we're just walking around where we're staying because it's actually got some really good habitat for pale-headed snakes, and this waterway here is really good for keelbacks and grey snakes. But we'll have one last attempt at finding something else, which if we do find something you'll see it. Otherwise, we're going to get up in the morning and head to inland taipan country. So if I don't see anything now, I suppose I'll see you in the morning. Alrighty, here we go. One of the targets, especially in this area, a nice red king brown snake, and very typical for this locality. Gorgeous snakes, and just cruising out in the sun. It's about 26 degrees, and that's plenty for him. Look at this fella, he's on fire. How good are those snakes? Cruising through the bush. Here's a closer look at that king brown that just come off the road. He's not real happy about us, but that's all good. Just going to take a quick few photos, and he'll be on his way. But one thing I did want to point out is we're probably going to see a few king browns on the trip, but this is basically the last spot where we're going to see this colour of them, which is that nice coppery red. Out west they just get almost a cream colour and stay that way pretty much the whole way through. So I'm happy to see one. This is the first red king brown I've ever seen. So yeah, couldn't be happier. But good snakes, eh? Look at the head on that thing. He'd ruin your day pretty quickly. We've hit red sand. But we're still far from the red centre. The big clay pans out there. Absolutely nothing. Pile of barrels. It's cooking. It's like 34 degrees and this sand is hot. We're nearly at Windorah on the way to taipan country. I think we're just going to cruise maybe the red stuff tonight for the western browns and whatnot. But tomorrow morning up early for the taipans. So see how we go. Windorah pub. And there's a big Panoptes or yellow spotted monitor. Just cruising. How good's that? Well, we have made it to inland taipan country, or the moon plains, moon flats, whatever you want to call them, where we'll be spending tonight and tomorrow morning searching these for taipans mainly, but also I'd like to see speckled browns and potentially the crack dwelling whip snake. This is why they call it the crack soil, as you can see. Now these are pretty small cracks and they don't look like much, but some of these cracks can actually range between 8 and 12 meters deep, which is why, you know, there's so much out here where it looks like there's absolutely nothing, because all the reptiles are able to regulate themselves. The deeper they go underground, the cooler it gets. And as you can imagine, the temperatures out here are bloody hot. Today was 35, tomorrow's looking like it's 40 degrees, and it's already about 32 degrees at 10 o'clock. So we have to be up bright and early to look for the taipan. I'm not going to say I expect one now. It's a little bit late, and it's, well, it's good time, but it's also very hot. But we are hoping for a speckled brown or potentially a whip snake. So we'll get back on the car and see what we can do. But have a look at this. Pretty slow night on the herping because it's ridiculously hot. But this is a little fat tail gecko. I'm actually not 100% sure what species of fat tail gecko this is, but I'm pretty sure I've seen the fella before. Anyway, we'll let him get going. We're going to go to bed pretty early tonight, wake up basically before dark to come out here for taipans. But yeah, if I see anything else, I'm sure you'll see as well. Otherwise, see you in the morning. Alright, well, we're up and early, we're ready to go straight out to taipans. This is just on light. It's about, I want to say 10 to 6 in the morning. And we've all got a jacket on because it's a little bit cool, but this is what we wanted. So basically these taipans, I think we've only got about an hour of window this morning to get one. You know, it's already 28 degrees by 8 o'clock. So yeah, it gets pretty hot pretty soon, but we're hoping we can get up before them and then be out there, you know, whilst they're coming out. So fingers crossed. We'll see you over there. This inland taipan, just sitting out in the open. Oh my god, have a go at that. Gorgeous little taipan, fresh out in the morning. Righty, so we've been lucky enough to see this fella this morning. Inland taipan, world's most venomous snake, and just cruising on the side of the road, and we're about to let him go. But one thing I did want to point out is where this fella lives. Literally as barren and as isolated as it gets. The only thing that's out here is maybe this rock. Like literally just rocks, dirt, that's it. There's not a pub, rock, hill, servo, bigger than this. For kilometres, there's absolutely nothing. It's just crack soil, and that's where they thrive. They feed almost exclusively on the long-haired rat as they reach maturity. But when they're younger, they actually have something like a really strong neurotoxin, and it's designed to kill small lizards, reptiles, who are big enough to eat them. And as they grow older, when they get to this size and they start preying upon things like rodents or rats, they develop a strong hemotoxin that stays the main component of their venom for the rest of their life. So it's more efficient to have things like import-blooded mammals, which is pretty cool. Now this snake here is it's on everyone's bucket list. Anyone who's into reptiles, this is like almost one of the holy grails. You dream about seeing it as a kid, and I dreamt about seeing it Alright, I'd call that a successful morning. Found it in their taipan, and now we're just parked up for some breakfast because we hadn't had that yet, and probably going to go try and find a shower as well, which probably won't happen for another few days. But now we're going to head up to Boulia, which is about 5.5 hours north of here, and the next target up there is Ingram's brown snake. But on the way we have potential to see Spencer's monitor, speckled browns, crack-dwelling whip snakes, which are all targets of this trip. So fingers crossed, but we'll pack the car up and then yeah, head up north. Alrighty, well, this is going to be the first of probably millions, and little central nether dragon just basking out on the road. Thought we'd stop and say good day. They're a gorgeous lizard. They have a huge geographical range in Australia. I'd say they have to be the most common out of the whole Ctenophorus genus, and yeah, very pretty lizard. This actually looks like a gravid female, so we're not going to hold her for too long. Let her keep going on, but mad. Alright, it's Australian beauty. One of many. We have seen quite a few already on the roads, but we haven't actually stopped for one. I thought we'd have a look at this fella. And they do not mind the heat. It is 38 degrees, about 4:30 in the afternoon. Cracking little lizard. I'd say that's a little girl, well, not little, but adult female. And it looks like she may potentially have laid this recent times, unless she's just very skinny as well. You can see her waist. But mad. Alright, well, the thing that is wriggling around in my hands is the species of Delma, which is type of legless lizard. I don't actually know exactly what species this is, so I might have to get the field guide out. But no, I think it's a tick for me. I don't know how, like, I've seen a few species, but I've obviously never been to this part of Australia, so I'd imagine this is a new species, but I'm not 100% sure. It's reptile of the night. Hooded scalyfoot, I'd say. Ooh, I don't know what species this is. Potentially eastern hooded scalyfoot, no one confirm. But yeah, no, bit of a switch up for the average scalyfoot we see back at home on the coast. Off he goes. That is cooking out there. Wow. Alright, we're back at camp, and it is still 33 degrees, so not really surprised that we didn't see much, but I'm sure you would have just seen the clip of those fires we drove past, which is actually pretty insane to see in person. But they weren't anything huge, just little scattered fire out on the other side of town at Boulia, and all the locals didn't seem too worried about it. They were, you know, fire is cops there, and no one was really that concerned. So we put up another about 5 to 10 k's on the other side of town, where we're going to stay tonight, and then wake up early in the morning and then go and hit one of the spots for Ingram's browns, speckled browns, and crack-dwelling whip snakes. So all good. I mean, we didn't expect to see much tonight. It wasn't really a spot, it was more so let's just go have a look. So still got to see a couple of reptiles, I suppose, and a wildfire, which is pretty hectic. But yeah, we're going to go to bed, get some sleep, and then get up early in the morning, go look for some snakes. But yeah, see you then. So, Ingram's habitat, Barclay and Boulia, Western Queensland. We got up at 6 o'clock this morning because on the weather app it said that it was 22 at 7 and still 28 at 9, which was great. It was perfect temps. But we got out here at 6 o'clock and it was 26 degrees. It's now already 28 at 7. So look, I don't know what the chances are of us actually getting anything because it's so bloody hot. But we're going to still keep going. We have seen 3 sets of snake tracks on this dirt road. 2 of them were, you know, probably the right size for an Ingram's brown. One of them was a bit too large, maybe a blackhead or a king brown. But we're going to keep punching, maybe do a couple more laps, and then head up to Mount Isa. So on the way there, we might be able to get lucky and see a few things, but it's going to be 37 today, so don't like our chances. But yeah, we'll keep back at Mount Isa and we'll see you then anyway. But we're going to keep looking. Well, about the only reptile out this morning. Anyway, enjoy your day, brother. Well, we have made it to the spot. Gonna go look for some lizards, maybe snakes, but it's 38 degrees, so I don't know. Alright, I don't know if you can see it very well, but there is a Hosmer skink in that crack. I'm looking at his eye, or his head. Hosmer skink. It's a tick for me. There is absolutely no way he's coming out of there though. Those scales are just perfectly designed for wedging in that, so we're gonna leave that fella go, but good to tick him off anyway. Alright, well we've been pretty inactive for the most of today because it was 40 degrees. We saw that Hosmer skink. That was about it. Came into town, just relaxed for a bit, and now we're up on a mountain just before dark looking for stores monitor, small species of monitor, and this spot's supposed to be pretty reliable for him, so I guess we'll have a quick look up here, and then as soon as it gets dark, we're going to be heading straight out onto the road looking for snakes, so we'll see what happens. So we've been sitting out here in the car for I don't know how long. We got a Burton's. We should appreciate it. But yeah, this is the most widely distributed reptile in Australia, so they're not hard to find. But he'd be out here chasing geckos, and that's basically exclusively what they eat, is other reptiles. But, well, let this fella keep going and keep looking for other stuff. Alright, we have a Strophaurus of some sort. Don't know what this is. I'll probably have to get I'll put the name on it on the video, but I'm stuck between, I don't know if we get Ciliaris here, which is the northern spiny-tailed, but I'll figure that out. Here we go, got an olive python, first one of the trip. Gorgeous little snake. They actually get fairly large, this species. They can go in excess of 2.5 metres to 3 metres in length. This one's only a young fella, cruising out at night. I reckon he's pretty cranky too, but we'll have a look. Another look at that gorgeous little olive python. Spent a little bit of time with him, not too long. Got other snakes to find, but it's a first for Tilly and Harry who are with me, which is very exciting. Can be one of Australia's largest snakes as well, so but definitely very cool to see. It's still 32 degrees, so we weren't really expecting it, but look at that. They're great snakes, and you'll notice he's very thin, but when they do get big, which is 2.5 metres, they get a lot thicker, and there's actually been records of this species preying on freshwater crocodiles, so you can imagine how big they do get. How good's that? Oh mate, what we've been waiting for. Have a go at this. That is a Dejara Death Adder if I've ever seen one, and that is a unit. Wow, he's been to a bit of a rough patch, but gorgeous snake. Oh my god. Alright, here is yours truly, the Dejara Death Adder, which is also known as the rough-scaled Death Adder. They do range from the northern half of Northern Territory through the floodplains down into where we are now, Mount Isa, and they don't really go much further down past the Dejara Desert, which is about 100k south of us. This is easily one of the hardest snakes to find out here, so we are incredibly lucky to see it. And man, aren't they gorgeous. I mean, this thing's probably had a rough shed by the looks of it, covered in dust out here on the plains, but nonetheless, absolutely gorgeous. Couldn't be happier with this tonight. This has definitely made it for the trip, and yeah, what a good animal. I mean, I've seen rough-scaled Death Adders before, but up in Kakadu or Litchfield National Park, they don't look anywhere near as good as they do down here, and that's why they call the Dejara Death Adders down here, which is this locality. This nice, beautiful colour, but one of the best Death Adders there is, I reckon, in my opinion. How good. And that's actually considerably, like, it's a large snake too. It is a female, and that is probably why she's so large. And Death Adders average at about 70 centimetres, or the common Death Adder does. But as you get inland and through other species, they usually get quite small, so that's pretty cool to see one this large, but how good. Alrighty, didn't think we were going to see anything else, but turns out we have a little children's python. I'm sure this won't be the last, as we're about to head into one of the thickest parts of their distribution, which I still believe in my head they're stimmos, but whatever. children's python. They only got about a metre in length. This one's pretty young. I'm sure this might be the last snake of the night, so if we don't see anything else, I think we're going to be cruising in the morning for maybe some Spencer's monitors, but it's pretty mad. Alright, that is the NT border, and we're on the way to the Barkley homestead tonight. Don't really know what we're targeting there, but hopefully on the way we might see a Spencer's monitor. Grab that.